Amazing. So we have another podcast episode of the Becoming Cosmically You. And today we have Roshan Shetty with us. And I feel like today is going to be a bit of a different topic because I understand, Roshan, you're interested in things like emotional intelligence and artificial intelligence. Like how did you come across these subjects and what have you learned?
Well, I didn't come across anything, to be very frank, and I was quite distant. I was quite away from these topics because, uh, as a person going into work every single day as a professional, as a corporate professional, I used to work with banks, and I was to deal with projects. But in 2016, out of nowhere, I started having anxiety issues and I started battling a lot of panic attacks.
Mm.
Uh, no reason really, if you ask me why I had those, I'm still to figure out why. But it was quite severe because it went on for 3 years
Mm.
and it went on to the extent where the daily course of life were difficult to execute. Uh, Driving or going alone, being alone somewhere. It also went to the point where I couldn't sleep well at night. I used to kind of wake up in the middle of the night, and even going to sleep had become a nightmare, in the literal sense. So, and I was never into reading or let alone writing or any of that stuff. I was all good into my own world. But then I started reading books just to divert my attention, not to really learn anything or to understand my problems. I just started reading to divert my attention. And from there, I picked up a few things, especially about cognitive biases, cognitive behavioral therapy. And I then started writing small articles about these topics, and I started circulating them within my friends and family. They could relate to it, they found it relevant, and that really pushed me, to write more on the topic. And I think about after writing about 8 or 9 articles on the blog, I thought, why not give it a shot? Why not extend it? Why not go deeper and write a book about all this? Because I realized that this was something which was impacting everyone. And if I had to attribute my issues, I would say it was more about thinking about the future, what would happen, how the world is changing, and it was just getting those vibes, and too much time on social media, uh, too much time into nothing really. And uh, I'm glad I had that episode or had that experience because it took me on to something which I never even fathomed. And then I got to writing my own book. I published my own book. And after writing, then someone said, why don't you speak with people at work? Why don't you speak with people in colleges? Because it's something that many of us are facing. And then I started, coaching and training people on these subjects. And here I am doing that, learning each day, trying to speak with people each day. And it's fun. So far, so good.
Oh, wow, it's amazing. So where are you with your own anxiety right now? How's that going?
Well, I just figured out the whole world is anxious. Everyone has some level of anxiety at some
Mm.
point of the other. It just varies. The levels vary. And I think the context vary, I'm all good right now. I think there are some coping mechanisms which I was able to get onto, and it's quite good. I mean, I have sound sleep right now. There are no issues, but at times, if I do feel anxious, I kind of have some quick hacks to come around it. It
Mm.
works, and I also speak with people about it, so I think it works for them as well.
I love that. I love that. So, what are the next steps for you in your journey? Do you feel like are you expanding on what you're learning or practicing it, or whereabouts are you?
Yeah, so I'm sorry. I think the first question also I didn't take it completely. You asked me about artificial intelligence and emotional intelligence. That was my journey on emotional intelligence, and the next is as we all know, AI is all over. It's it's imbibed into our lives where it's, I don't see a way where anyone could get out of AI or probably not be in the ecosystem or be in an ecosystem where there is no AI. Uh, there are pros and cons to it, and I would always like to see positively. So the next step for me, of course, is, and I love this part of trying to understand artificial intelligence, try to attach it to various philosophies, try to attach it to human behavior. But I always feel there is a higher form of intelligence which we humans can reach out to. So we have the human intelligence, which is at the bottom of the pyramid. The AI stands above it, which draws its power from human intelligence. But I say emotional intelligence can be higher than artificial intelligence itself. Because if we if we are smart enough to understand how we can really use AI to reach to a utopian world and how it can really improve the lives of our communities, our nations, our societies, I think it can be absolutely wonderful. So I think emotional intelligence, I see that as the highest form of intelligence, even above AI and the normal intelligence that we possess. So the blend of AI and AI, I think I want to explore that even more, get into that stuff, talk about those things, and see what better can we do for our community.
That sounds good. And for those people who are maybe watching that don't understand this term, emotional intelligence, how would you describe it?
Well, it's to keep it simple and to talk in absolute layman terms. Emotional intelligence, uh, it goes beyond what you see, or it goes beyond numbers. It's something which I think the first area where emotional intelligence hits you, it's your gut, it's your intuition, right? Anything that we see in our space, in the world, it impacts our intelligence because it is quickly absorbed by the mind. It is stored somewhere in our mind, in the hippocampus, in the cortex. But emotional intelligence is not something which is said or which is shown. I think it's the way you uh, interact without words, without a said word or anything in voice, but it's something which hits you on the intuition. So empathy, if I talk about, if I have to, you listening to my story, and if you feel touched or moved or any kind of emotion, that's emotional intelligence. And the next question that you asked was, you know, how are you coping with it now?
Mm,
Right? That's emotional intelligence because you understood that there was pain, there was trauma that came into this person's life. How is he coping up now? And it is so important in our daily life because we are inundated with data, we are swamped with information. And when we are drowned in so much data and so much information, it's very easy to get engulfed by it all and forget the aspect of emotional intelligence, forget the aspect of trusting our own intuitions, because our ecosystem is getting shaped and designed into something which we don't want to become. And that's why I say that form of intelligence, it has to be uh, an order above human or artificial intelligence.
yeah, I agree. It's what makes us human. And I think many of us haven't actually been taught about emotions, right? And we have such a wide array of different emotions that there's still so much to understand about that.
Absolutely. I read somewhere that the first point of human thought comes from the gut and intuition, and it's not the brain.
Mm,
So, and that is some science which is yet to be discovered.
mm,
Uh, uh, there are many researchers, a lot of commentators who are exploring the aspect of understanding the mind, especially when they are trying to understand algorithms, trying to understand how machines work. But there is this unexplored territory, which I believe even science hasn't reached right now to understand human intuition, the human gut.
Mm,
And often, we have so many influencers telling us what to do. The world is so opinionated. But I avoid talking about relationships. I avoid talking about personal finances. I avoid talking about personal diet because I believe it's one's own intuition that can guide in these matters.
mm,
And I'm not qualified to speak on someone else's or about someone else's relationship or someone else's finance. What is good for me might not be good for you. So I think that is one area and one science which will be explored in future, but I believe there's a lot of scope right now.
mm. And what are some of the things that have helped you like tap into your own intuition to guide you through this journey?
Uh, well, I think we speak about certain experiences of what has happened to us in the past. Like, for example, the experience of the anxiety, which I spoke about. And today, I get a feeling of what are the things I should avoid, uh, which might not be good for me. It might be good for everyone else. So intelligence, normal intelligence would tell me, hey, this thing works, do it. But it's my past experience and my intuition which would say, this is not meant for you. It works for them, but it's not meant for you.
Mm,
So I think my own past experiences, and that's why I say our own circumstances are our biggest masters. There's no better teacher than our own circumstances. You can take a number of courses, you can speak with mentors, you can read many books, but nothing beats your own experience, and especially the experience of failure. And I had them often. I just use them to guide me in life.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful because, I think people are always expecting that somebody else is going to have their answers for them. But like you said, it's we're all on our own individual paths and we've all got our own individual journeys. And so looking for someone who's an expert isn't such a good thing to do anymore. And I'm glad that people are waking up to that because there are so many so-called experts on social media now. You got to be a bit careful on who you take advice from, I think, anyway. I'm always telling our clients, like, I can tell you what's worked for me. I can channel, I can download information from source, but you have to feel it within yourself. Is it a yes or is it a no? And then be guided by that. Because I think the other thing as well is that we assume that there's only right or wrong, but actually there's no such thing as wrong. It just gives you a lesson or a blessing, right? It's not a wrong thing to do if we take a different path.
Yeah, absolutely. I just finished reading this book, or rather listening to this book because I do a lot of audiobooks. Uh, and I just finished this book by Joseph Nguyen, the art of thinking. Oh no, I think the art of thinking clearly, or why we think incorrectly. I just forgot the title. I'm sorry, but it had this beautiful saying that there's nothing right or wrong. It's just our experiences to it.
Mm,
And if we, like you rightly said, if we uh, start saying that, everything that is happening is just based on what we know and we don't know, and there's nothing as right or wrong. If something is wrong, then it's only that we don't know about it.
mm,
And if something is right, then it's something that we knew and that has happened. That's great. Uh, and that itself takes care of a lot of our emotions, a lot of our and those things stem from our biases, like especially if I have to kind of look at it, go zoom out and have a very macro view about it. By the way, the name of the book was "Don't Believe Everything You Think" by
mm.
Joseph New. Yeah, I
I
don't know if
like
you read
that.
it. I think you should read it. So,
I like that.
if you look at the yeah, if you look at the macro view, wars that are happening today, multiple wars in multiple areas, I think everyone is trying to prove their righteousness, and that leads to conflict. Uh, and as a society, even though we believe on the basic values of humanity, if we believe in the basic values of freedom and equity, we still have our own versions within it.
Mhm.
And that's even more dangerous than being at the opposite end, because if you're the opposite end, it's very clear that this is what I'm talking about, then that is very, and that gives you room for some dialogue. But when there is conflict within a same aspect of life, like what should humanity be for me and what should humanity be for you, or which God is right, I think that is leading to bigger conflicts today, that we see. And I think it's I don't know how to put it. I really don't have a solution for it or an answer to it. But I think that is an area which leaders of the world could get into, uh, and try to create or maybe improve society, on that. Because the messaging, and we spoke about social media, uh, in this interview today. I think the good part of social media, if there is, can actually tap into that area and improve lives for the sake of many across the world.
Mm. I think my view on it is quite a little bit cynical. So I feel like a lot of the world leaders aren't really interested in the welfare of humanity actually. I think it comes back to a lot of power and control and money. I think it's all about resources. The earth, I see it as a resource factory for a lot of these people who seek to control and use humans as just another resource, and um there's no energy within that from my point of view. It just is what it is, right? I don't get angry about it anymore because it just is. And I think the more that you can step into that, it is what it is and it's happening. And what can I do within my world to make my world more peaceful and have that inner peace? I think that's where the power is actually. I think a lot of people worry about things that they can't control, like the global aspect, and I think the news and the media have a really detrimental effect with that because they're fear mongers. They like spreading fear and they like everyone scared. And actually, you know what? If I don't see it with my own eyes or I don't hear it with my own ears, then I don't believe it. How can I? And even if I do, I don't believe it because that might be some kind of system that my brain is encouraging me to understand and form judgment that's not even real. So I think I'm one of those people that I'm generally in my own little rainbow bubble most days, you know. Not that I don't care about what's happening to people in the world because I care deeply about humanity, but I think oftentimes we have to be responsible for our own worlds and our own creations, and then everybody will benefit from that.
Yeah, uh, that's absolutely true. And even the phase when I was dealing with my anxiety, the first thing I did was I switched off all forms of news. I was a person who used to avidly read newspapers, watch the prime time news. But the first thing that I did coming out of the anxiety was I stopped watching
Hmm.
all forms of news or reading any newspapers. Uh, and I still do that today. I have stopped. Instead, I have shifted my focus to reading books, uh, which I feel are a great source of learning, because a well-written book will kind of take you to depths of uh, very rich knowledge on a subject. Uh, the only reason I would read news is I would read the entertainment news and gossip, and that's like a breakout zone for me. Uh, just to get gossip, just to kind of have a smile and have a laugh about what's happening in the world. And
Yeah. Looks like we might have a power outage. Russian. Do, do, do. This has never happened before. How interesting. Oh, Russian's like frozen in time. Okay, I'll wait a few seconds and then I will come back. And I think this is really beautiful, this message, that's coming through about connecting and emotional intelligence and understanding what your emotions are, because you can really find a lot of power within that. And the thing that I've learned on this journey as well is I don't necessarily consume information from anywhere anymore. It's very, very rare that I will consume information. Very, very, very rare. I will sit with myself and ask myself what that means for me. And I've developed a way of tapping into my own body through body consciousness, and I will know whether something is something I should go for or not. But also within that, I've developed a deep trust with myself where I know that even if I make a decision and it turns out not to be the favorable one, it's not going to be something that hurts me or harms me, because I know and I trust that I will get through 100%. Hey, he's back.
I'm sorry, I just had a power outage. I don't know why this
Yeah,
has
that's
happened, but
okay. I thought it was a
everything
power
just came on
outage.
back.
Yeah, don't worry. I was
Yeah.
told it was a power outage, so don't worry about it. Um, so what do you think the future looks like for AI and humanity, Russian? Oh, looks like we've lost him. Oh, hello. Looks like we've frozen again. Okay, there must be some issues in India. Sometimes this happens, I find myself feeling so, so grateful, for all the modern things that we just assume are gonna be working, internet, phone line, running water. And I don't know about you, but I find myself in such deep gratitude at times for the fact that we just go and we just assume these things are working. And one of the ways that I've realized is that um when you go without this. We're back again. Hey, Russian.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think when the internet went off, I switched off my other network, and once it got back, my laptop was just toggling between two networks, and it took me off again. My
It's
apologies.
okay. No worries. One question is, where do you think the future lies with artificial intelligence? Do you see it kind of taking over, or how do you see it playing out?
Well, in my opinion, it's at a very nascent stage right now. We are just exploring and scratching the surface. Look at it as a infant, which is barely 2 or 3 years old. And today we are playing with things like ChatGPT or various bots, which are, automated voice assistants or various assistants, which kind of present you a choice, a bouquet of choice, depending on your search, depending on your interest, and depending on whatever you like. Uh, but this was extrapolate to which we cannot fathom today, because there would be many applications that would be built over. For example, today we use ChatGPT to search for information or to get us some analysis or trends about a topic. But tomorrow you would have multiple applications which sit over ChatGPT, which use ChatGPT, and then you're just using that application which does not even require you to anything or say anything or type anything. And it would be so embedded into your ecosystem. The moment you walk into your house, the lights would come up. It would your your music system would play your favorite music depending on the mood that you are in, because you have a chip in your wristwatch which is sending signals of your body temperature, your blood pressure, and that signals out your mood, and it says to your music system at home what kind of music should be played right now so that you calm down, right? And then you have things around you which are all integrated. The important aspect to understand is that we are in a shift of uh, watching or experiencing the power of intelligence shifting from the organic to the inorganic, right? Am I audible to you?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I lost it again. So we are in the phase where we are looking at the shift of power of intelligence, especially because until now, all intelligence was possessed by living beings and especially by humans. Uh, we are now in the phase where you would have intelligence coming out from all non-living things around you. So your desk, right, the desk where you're sitting at, will probably start telling you what kind of bacteria and how many germs are in the desk right now. Is it safe to use this desk? Right? If you pick up a glass of water, right, the glass of water will adjust the temperature of the liquid inside it. And I'm talking about that level of artificial intelligence. Because now the glass, your desk, your table, your pen, they will tell you whether are you able to use these things or not. And and those things are already that design is already embedded into a system because the moment we tune into Netflix, uh, Netflix will show us the movies which you prefer than allowing you to explore its entire menu. All right. So that's intelligence coming out of a system. If you go on Amazon, Amazon knows what did you purchase last and what are the likely items that you would purchase now. So if I am a father and if I had a baby at my place, and if I'm looking for diapers, baby diapers, Amazon knows what is the next thing I would need, and they would market me baby oil, right? And so this is at a very basic level right now. And I'm talking, imagine this multiplying 10 times into all products in your house or at your office.
Mm, wow. Yeah, there's no way in the world I'll be wearing a chip at all. I find that kind of a little bit scary, to be honest. I want to keep my brain and my body intact. I feel like we need to strongly detest that. That could cause all kinds of issues. So Russia, where can people find you if they want to find out more about what you do and what you stand for?
Well, I try to be, I have my socials active. My website is roshanshetty.com. That's my name, ROSHANSHETTY.com. That's simple. You can look at Roshan Shetty author on Instagram. On YouTube, it's Roshan Shetty. That's my channel. Uh, I'm on LinkedIn as well. You can just search by my name on LinkedIn or YouTube or Instagram, and I'm quite active on these platforms. I keep posting content. I keep writing. So yeah,
Okay, beautiful. So what we'll do is we'll thank our readers and listeners, and we'll make sure your links get put in the the post that we put out as well, so people can find you. Okay, and I'll
absolutely.
just thank our readers and listeners for watching and listening, and then we'll have a little chat afterwards if you've got 5 minutes.
Sure. Yeah.
Brilliant.